That's right, everybody. Tomorrow, we're finishing this thing. 2 weeks ago, I made a video in which I tried to do all 31 Inktober 2019 prompts in just one day. And, well, you know what? I'll link it in the card and the description. Click away if you haven't watched it, and... oh wait, go watch that first. Okay, you good? You all caught up? Perfect. So, there's still 13 drawings to go. I only got 18 of the 31 done, and I feel like I gotta finish this. So, following the theme of the last one, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and spend all day doing the last 13 drawings of Inktober 2019. Let's finish this. Roll the opening banner so I can get some sleep. I'm up earlier this time. Which means, you know, this time before I actually jump in and get started.
I actually had time to get myself some coffee this morning.
And make myself a nice breakfast. And this time it's not out of procrastination. And of course I'm feeling more confident going into this because I've done 18 ink drawings and I feel better about doing traditional art as opposed to, you know, just always doing digital. And you know, after that last video, a lot of people have been asking me to do more traditional artwork on this channel. And I did really enjoy that video, but I still much prefer digital, so I don't know, maybe by the end of this video I'll decide if I'm gonna start doing more traditional, but it was pretty fun doing those ink drawings last time, so let's see how today feels. Here we go. Starting off today is prompt number 19 with Sling. And with this one, I kinda did a bit of a repeat of my Frail prompt. It's a sort of skinny little knight kind of character, except this time he's got a slingshot in his hand and he's being chased down by some kind of serpent centipede type thing. I was thinking of it as if he just shot this thing with the slingshot trying to take it down, but of course it's just a slingshot so it didn't do very much, and then this thing got really irritated and is hunting him down trying to get him, and it's fun. I like how the spiral of the serpent is kind of framing the main character, but overall it does feel a little bit like a, you know, a sort of warm-up drawing. Now, unfortunately, the next prompt up is Tread, but I accidentally deleted the recording of me doing the drawing partway through the day when I was trying to clear some space from my phone. But here's the finished version of it. Basically, I was trying to do a sort of Transformers tank type character with tank treads as the legs, and you know, it turned out pretty fun. I think it's kind of cool looking. I've been wanting to do some Transformers art lately, planning on making a whole video around that soon, but they're surprisingly difficult to wrap my mind around drawing. Next up, we've got Treasure, and the creature that I've got in here, anyone who plays Dungeons & Dragons probably recognizes it as a mimic. It's like a treasure chest or object that looks like just an object, and then when you try to open it or something, it attacks you. And this prompt ends up kind of being like overgrown in the last video, in the sense that I don't 100% love how this turned out, but I really like the idea and the composition, and I love how the character is slashing one of the tentacles off. The level of black versus white I think was really good, so this is one I almost kind of want to redraw digitally, spend a lot more time on it, because I do think this one is a really fun piece, despite some flaws with the main character's neck and head and legs and stuff, but overall, I do really like this one. Alright, this definitely feels like I'm off to a better start this week than my first couple of last week. Also, a few people have been asking me what tools I'm using. For pens, I've just been using Faber-Castell, might be saying that wrong. I've got a small brush, a small pen, extra small pen, and F pen. I don't really know what that is. And then this week, instead of using the Copic markers I was using to fill in the black background last time, I just got some Sharpies because they were cheap and could get a few sizes of them. But really, keep in mind that because I'm not someone who does traditional art that much, my tactic for buying stuff was just go in, find something that looks like it's kind of what I'm looking for, or just buy whatever has the coolest packaging. I don't know if these are the best tools to be using for what I'm doing, but they work for me. So yeah, let's see what the next prompt is. Next up, very Halloween-y, we have got Ghost. So for Ghost, I don't know why this is the first thing that came to my mind, but I wanted to do a kid in that sort of silly bedsheet ghost costume running around, and then in behind him in a much more stark black graphic style, this big kind of phantom reaching claws down towards him. And I thought that was just kind of cool, having a kiddish costume ghost and then a real kind of freaky-ish ghost in the background. And I wanted it to look like the kid had no idea what was going on behind him, but because he was in the sort of bedsheet costume, I had to try and get a happy-ish look across in the eyes, give it that sort of curve under the eyes, make the character smizing a little bit, smiling with their eyes. I guess if you look at this, you could still see it as the kid is freaked out and running away, but I think it does kind of work as the kid not really knowing what's going on behind him, so either way, I think this is a fun one. So for Ancient, I was still in a sort of Dungeons and Dragons kind of mood, and I feel like for a lot of the inked drawings, I just have a bit more of a fantasy mindset. Also, I'm planning a comic right now that's fantasy focused. But anyway, for this one, I made some sort of dragon goblin old man that has like these really big claw hands and a cane and is controlling some kind of dark magic fire. He ends up having the wonkiest eyes ever, which wasn't intentional. A lot of him is purposely wonky. That part wasn't. But overall, this one's still fun. It's one of the more simple ones. I like the stark black flames around him and in his hand. But yeah, overall, a little bit forgettable compared to the other ones, but I still think it's kind of fun looking. So here's something I definitely didn't anticipate. Sharpies have a very strong smell. I mean, I've got the door open now so that the air can come through a little bit more, but my head's feeling funny. I should keep these things closed for a while. Anyway, back into it. Let's see what the next prompt is. I know this will seem very scripted, but I promise you I had not looked at what the next prompt is before recording the thing about the Sharpies. The next prompt is dizzy. That feels very fitting right now. Now, I've been trying in this video and the last one to avoid doing fan art for the prompts because that's kind of my go-to thing, drawing superheroes and just any kind of nerdy fan art stuff. But for this one, I couldn't resist doing a shot of Spider-Man really dizzy, tripping out in the helmet of Mysterio, inspired by that awesome fight from Spider-Man Far From Home. I wanted Spider-Man to look a little bit wonky because he's supposed to be tripping out and falling over a bit, but it ended up more wonky than I was going for, and this is where I could feel my desire for digital coming back, because I would have fixed this in about 3 seconds working digitally, but I would have had to erase and redraw and it would have taken too long, so I just accepted it and think that's kind of the weaker point of this, but overall I do still like how this turned out. Now the next prompt was tasty, and I had a blast with this one. I decided to do a more big, full shot because I was on/ahead of schedule. I decided, okay, let's do something a bit bigger and more elaborate. So this is definitely the most fleshed out environment, and I just wanted to do a kid freaking out in somewhere like Candyland. They're so excited on some kind of crazy sugar high, hair is standing up on end. I was starting to worry partway through that I wasn't having contrast in the right areas, so I started upping the little extra details on the kid, and in the end, I think it worked really well. He does come across as the main focus, I think, but you still want to look around at the whole environment. I kind of would like to do this one again a little bit more fleshed out and in color in the future. Then we had Dark, and for this one I kept it a little bit simpler. Maybe it's because I spent so much more time on the last one, but I just had an idea for a character that ends up feeling very Raven from Teen Titans. It's just some supervillain that can control darkness and make some kind of dark creature. I wanted to have a single character, but something coming across like a little bit more interesting composition than just a character standing there, because I feel like I've done that a few times for this. So I thought having the character do a sort of darkness attack would be kind of fun. It's a simple one, not one of my favorites, but it turned out pretty much exactly as what I was going for. Now this one did end up being another just character standing there on their own, but the prompt was coat, and I just was surprised how much I ended up really liking this one. I wanted to do something a little bit different than just a coat, so the next thing that came to my mind was a coat of paint. So I decided to give the guy a sort of coat that was made out of paint, and there was paint kind of dripping down, and I guess it doesn't necessarily come across as paint, it just looks like some kind of weird liquidy wet coat. But I think it's still fun. I really like how I did the ground below him as a sort of really dark paint splotch, and then his face I ended up making pretty much just my avatar's face from PopCross Studios. Alright, this is going really well. Got 9 drawings done, 4 to go, and it's only 5 o'clock. But of course, right now I kinda gotta pause and go respond to comments because I have a video going out the day I'm recording this. My video redrawing my old characters from my old book series, Multiverse Tales. Is this an ad for a video that came out 5 days ago in the middle of another video of mine that you're watching? Maybe. But maybe you want to watch that one when this one's done if you haven't seen it yet. Who's to say, really? But regardless, it's gonna be about 2 seconds for you, about an hour for me, but let's jump into the next prompt. Now the next prompt up was ride, and this ended up looking more like fan art than I was intending because it just looks like something for Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, the comic series, but then also the character on the dinosaur's back looks a bit like my original character Alexis Jones because I'd just done that Multiverse Tales video and she was kind of in my head. But ignoring those two things, I really like this one. I made the dinosaur a bit more angular in the tail and head. It's kind of halfway between a T-Rex and a raptor. I'd originally been going for a raptor, but made the character on the back smaller. But overall, I like this one. It's kind of fun and cool, and yeah, here it is. Next up, we had the prompt injured, and I originally thought I was going to do a human character just after a fight, maybe wiping some blood off their mouth, but then I decided, you know what, I want to do another cool creature. This one ended up being very Jake Parker inspired, the creator of Inktober, and I've realized lately that I really like doing characters with proportions where they have really big upper bodies and front arms, and then small, skinny back legs, and I made the back legs kind of just really skinny two-toe feet kind of thing, and I think it ends up really cool. It's just a creature coming out of a scrap. It's got some scratch marks in it. It's bleeding a little bit. I think I want to vary up how I do cuts in characters, but besides that, I really like how this one turned out. It's just nice and simple and cool. Next, we had the prompt catch, and I really like the idea of having a Superman-type character catching a missile or a plane or something, and I messed around with a few different proportion ideas for it, but in the end, I like what I did enough. I wish I'd fleshed it out a bit more, spent a bit more time on the character, but overall I think it's kind of fun. I like the black streak in behind them. I tried to change up the suit a little bit so that it didn't come across too much as Superman, but because a lot of the costume is hidden behind the rocket, I couldn't really do too much to make it clear that this wasn't Superman, so it does sort of look like him. But besides that, I like this one. Fun, kind of simple, and yeah. Well, 7:30, done 12 of the 13 drawings, and just one to go, and everything kind of went better this time. I'm not as tired, I was more confident, I like a bunch of the art better, but with one left, I feel like I gotta do something a little bit more special with it. And I thought, how can I make this a little bit more PopCross Studios, a little bit more nerdy, because, you know, this is home of the nerdiest art videos on YouTube. So I thought, you know what? Let's do this last one as a random booster art challenge. So, for those who might not know, a random booster art challenge is usually where I take 2 different types of trading cards, open a pack of each, pick a creature out of each, and do some kind of mashup drawing with those 2 monsters together, sometimes having that monster fight Avengers or superheroes or something. So for this video, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take the last prompt, which is ripe, and I'm going to open a pack of Pokemon cards, and I have to make some kind of mashup with the mix of ripe and one of the, whatever the coolest Pokemon in the pack is. Super nerdy, super in theme with PopCross Studios, and I think it's gonna be a fun way to wrap this up. I don't know, I really want to do something with either Magmar or Thundurus, but what could I do with either of them? Oh, you know what, I've got an idea. So for this one, what I decided to do was for ripe, I leaned into the idea of fruit. So I took Thundurus and changed some of his weird extremities into different types of fruit. So that thing that he has that has a bunch of weird balls on it, I don't know what it's supposed to be, but I turned the balls into apples and he's kind of plucking one off. He's got a bit of a happier look, he's more friendly looking. I changed his cloud hair stuff into a banana coming off the back of his head, put a couple of cherries hanging off of his horn. And funny enough, this isn't actually the first time I've drawn Thundurus on this channel. I've drawn him for some unlistedly fan art that Ando actually ended up opening on his channel a while back. But yeah, this was a fun enough one to end on. It wasn't super special or anything, but it's kind of, you know, just cute and fun. So here is the last drawing of Inktober 2019. I think my 2 favorites, it's a harder call this time, but would have to be either Crazy in Candyland or I don't know what this one's called, the one with the mimic. But those are probably my two favorites. Let me know what your favorites were in the comments. And of course, anyone who wants to submit to this month's PopCross Community Redraw, the theme is Supernatural this month, and instructions for submissions are in the description below, and you have until October 25th. The video is going to come out Monday, October 28th, so get your submissions in. Lots of good stuff's coming in already, and I'm excited to see what else gets in. But that's all for my Inktober. I'm super excited to do more ink drawing, and I definitely am going to do more traditional stuff on this channel. This was a lot of fun. I'm probably still going to mostly do digital stuff, but I'll try to mix the two together, do a video where I do a bit of both. You know, there's going to be traditional art on this channel more often now. But yeah, that's all for today. I'm Christian Pearson. This has been PopCross Studios, home of the nerdiest art videos on YouTube. If you liked it, please leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that kind of stuff. I release videos Mondays and Saturdays, but sometimes more than that. I think that's the whole ending spiel, so I'm gonna start cleaning up all those little eraser bits again. Alright everybody, I'll see you all later. Thanks for watching.